Stephen A., do you agree with Dez?
I totally agree with Dez, and I appreciate Dez making the point that I'm trying to make, although I don't think it was wise for him to do it if he wants to become a Cowboy again, even though that was a slim to zero chance anyway. But I will say this. He's absolutely right. That's the point that I've been making. Dak Prescott is 40-24 as a starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. In 4 years, he's taken them to the playoffs twice. He's completed 65% of his passes or better in 3 of those 4 years. You take that into consideration, along with his leadership, his dependability, his trustworthiness, his reliability, all those things that we have volleyed back and forth, debating about, talking about, and emphasizing and re-emphasizing the importance of, to all of a sudden ignore that because he wants his money, to me is ridiculous. And then you bring Andy Dalton back. Let's take into account who we're talking about here and Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's first 5 years of his career were impressive. He won 9 games his first year. He won at least 10 games or 10 games in 3 of the next 4 years and 11 games one of those years. So that's 4 straight years with at least 10 wins up until 2015. Since that time, he hasn't had a winning record. He's never won a playoff game. Outside of the first time he was in the playoffs, he's never completed better than 56% of his passes in the postseason. Yeah, he might be a backup. Yes, he's shown that he can start for a few teams. But he's not Dak Prescott. And even though the Cowboys are saying they know it, what we have to remember is that Dak Prescott played for $2.1 million last year. Andy Dalton is getting paid a minimum of $3 million with incentives that can pump it to $7 million. I'm not going to tell you that it's not good business on the part of the Dallas Cowboys, but when it came to Dak Prescott, it wasn't supposed to be just about business, was it? It was supposed to see all of those elements that you bring into the equation in representing the Cowboy brand. And Dez Bryant said it best. He basically paraphrased what I'm saying. If Tony Romo were in the same identical situation as Dak Prescott, he would have gotten paid by now. Because we don't know what the guaranteed portion of what they're owing, what they're offering to Dak Prescott really is long term. We know the exclusive franchise tag comes with $33 million, but we don't know long term whether it's $110 million like Jared Goff, whether it's $107 million like Carson Wentz, whether it's $72 million like Jimmy Garoppolo. We don't know. And for Dak Prescott to be in this situation where you had him play last year at just $2 million, the man ain't missed a game. He's only missed 1 practice. He's been a leader. He's personified exemplary behavior and beyond. For him to find himself in this situation, to me, is just incredibly, incredibly insulting. And as far as I'm concerned, this Andy Dalton signing is the latest. It's the latest maneuver by Jerry Jones and these guys. They can call it business all they want to, and they can have reporters say the same thing. I think it's disrespectful to Dak Prescott, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't, because I don't think Dak Prescott's an elite quarterback. I think he has the potential to be eventually. I think he's a good quarterback. He reminds me, as I keep saying, of Tom Brady and Russell Wilson early in their careers, in the sense that they gave you a good feeling, like something I like about this guy. They were consistent, and they were good and getting better, right? And they eventually became great. Russell Wilson became great, and Brady became the GOAT. So maybe that'll happen with Dak Prescott too, but it hasn't happened so far. Some of those numbers he's put up have been empty calories against bad teams. He was 8-8 last year for a loaded team. Didn't have a great coach, but you could say the same thing about Andy Dalton. Dak Prescott's better than Andy Dalton. I think we all agree. But Dalton does some of the same things that Prescott does. Like, Dalton can get rid of the ball fast, and he's good on intermediate throws. And if you want to criticize him, other than not being really accurate down the field, you could say that maybe Dalton leaves bigger plays on the field. Same thing with Dak, even when he has good, touchdown to interception ratio, which is always. You look and you go, if you actually watch him play, you go, okay, that was an okay play. There was a better play to be made. And so you could look at Dalton in a way as a poor man's Dak Prescott. And in fact, he's being paid like a poor man's Dak Prescott. They've offered Prescott over $30 million a year. Now, if that contract is not to his liking and he doesn't sign it because he thinks he can get an even better contract, okay. But this default kind of fallback is, well, if it's Tony Romo, they'd have signed him already. I don't know. Would Romo be holding out to be the best paid quarterback in the league, even though he's not the best quarterback in the league? even though Romo at his best was better than Dak at his best so far. And if he was and they didn't want to pay him, then I would be for them. And if he wasn't and they paid him anyway, okay, that would have been a mistake. So, like, what do you want to say? They brought in a good backup quarterback on a nice deal. I don't think that's out of bounds.
As Dez Bryant highlighted, they paid Tony Romo when Tony Romo didn't even have a winning record. And again, we could sit up there and say, obviously, Tony Romo might have been a little better than him. But Dak's upside at age 26 in this day and age, having 48 starts under his belt and at least 3 playoff games under his belt, we can't ignore all of that. So I'm looking at it from the standpoint, you're talking about the future. Do you look at him and see somebody that is devoid of the potential to potentially be great? I don't think anybody can say that. And if you can't say that, then all you have to go on after that is not just his potential, but his character and what you're looking at. If you got Amari Cooper and you got CeeDee Lamb and you got Michael Gallup and you got Ezekiel Elliott and you got an offensive line and you got a new head coach that's more seasoned and accomplished than Jason Garrett, Kellen Moore's got more than 1 year on his resume as an offensive coordinator. What the hell is the problem with paying this guy who has proven to you that he's trustworthy, he's no scrub, and potential lies in the future? They've done it for a multitude of other people. They would have done it for Tony Romo. Why can't you do it for Dak Prescott? That's my argument.
They're offering Prescott over $30 million a year, a guarantee, like a contract along the lines of Carson Wentz or Jared Goff. So since they're offering that to him, let's not pretend they're making the same offer to Dalton. What, they give Dalton 1 year, $3 million with the potential to make $7 million? That's peanuts, because Dak is better than Dalton. Forget about the future. He's better than him now.
But last year they let him play at $2 million.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.